So good evening, everybody. Lovely to see everybody here tonight for this Maine moment, our last one of March. Hard to believe time is flying. We're here at Tashi Getzeling at the Shrine Room, and I'll also share the screen for a moment so you can see that we've got our interspecies community here. Our cat Clarence, that's become quite a meditator, has been given a new name, Tashi Sering, which means happiness of long life. So hope that you've been having a great practice, that these sessions have been beneficial for you. And tonight we want to just bring ourselves now to this moment. So just bring yourself, you had whatever day you had today, wherever you are. And right now you're just sitting in your room or whatever space you're sitting in, and just bring awareness back into your body so that we can let everything go that preceded, that led up to this moment today. And just let yourself become conscious of your body. So the contact of the weight of your body sitting on a chair or a cushion. Take some nice deep breaths in through the nose and fill the whole body with breath, and just really fill the whole body with the breath. And as you exhale, just make the sound ah, however your ah sounds. And the exhale and the settling at the beginning of meditation, and the text says it's kind of like whenever we begin each practice, begin it like someone who's just finished a great task. So we're sitting down with a sense of ease, a sense of comfort, a sense of everything else in life has been completed. We don't have anything else on our mind right now. And we're inviting first our body to just settle, and we're noticing, is there tension held anywhere? Where can we relax more? Where can we invite ourselves to truly arrive with full comfort and ease just to this moment? And as you breathe in, it's good to relax your belly, let the breath fill the whole body, and breathe down into the legs, into the toes, into every single cell and space of the body. And really enjoy the in-breath, slowly breathing in through the nose. Feeling how the breath fills the body. And then once it's full, we don't hold the breath. We just notice there's no more in-breath coming. And then gently relaxing again with ah. We use the mouth at the beginning to really exhale any stale air, any old air. In the Tibetan system, we say there are 72,000 channels that the lung, the winds, move through the body. And so we're inviting on the exhalation to let go of any kind of stress, any kind of old stale air that we've held into that we haven't fully exhaled. Often when we breathe, we're not conscious of breathing, which is why the Buddha used breath as a constant object of meditation. It's with us if we just remember to keep coming back to it. And now relax the body even more, giving over all the weight to whatever seat you're sitting on. Find your centered balance by sitting up straight, a little bit taller with your spine pulling straight up from the top of the head. You want to feel like from here that you're really from the crown coming up, and then that there's a plane straight down the spine and sinking down through the coccyx, through the tailbone, so that the lower part of the body, lower part is very stable and still, and the upper part is very elongated, because this helps our breath when we're going into meditation to move very freely through those 72,000 channels, and especially through the central channel, which is called the Uma in Tibetan. So this is the main flow for breath. And in our practice of Tibetan Buddhism, breath and mind are very carefully and closely linked, because of course that the breath is what animates the body, and it's not the breath that animates it, it's the consciousness. So without breath we have no consciousness. So in Tibetan Buddhism, the breath, the winds are the seat of the consciousness, and what we want is our consciousness to ride on the breath the way a rider rides on a horse. is what it says in the texts. So we want them really comfortable in working together, not even working together, but just moving without effort, very naturally. And again, another few breaths we're enjoying and feeling sense of spaciousness now as we breathe in and out. The first few breaths are for relaxation. Now we're inviting in spaciousness. We think of the mind is having no physicality, so it's non-physical, it's beginningless and endless, and often it's analogous to space. It's pure, wide open. Things move through it all the time, but no matter how many things move through it, how many thoughts, how many sounds, how many sights, the mind itself is not those things. Just as space can hold clouds and planets and the sun and aeroplanes and rockets and satellites, but space is not those things. And the mind is not our ideas. The mind is not our opinions. The mind is not our thoughts, our feelings. And the mind, in this sense, is not us. Mind is a awareness, beginningless, endless awareness, all the way up to omniscience. This is, in a sense, what the word Buddha means. It's much more of a state of being than an actual physical being. And so now with the next in-breath, feeling that the mind is as wide open and pure, clean, infinite like space, allow the mind to settle into the body. Bring them together. And allow the sense of being embodied to become much more spacious, much more unbounded, boundless, expansive. Peaceful. And now let's bring awareness fully to the breath, either right below the navel, right below the belly button, about 4 finger lengths below as it fills up on the in-breath. That's a much easier place to concentrate on because the body actually moves, it expands. We can feel the movement of the belly muscles as they expand on the in-breath and as they contract on the out-breath. So if your mind is feeling a little busy and agitated, take a very obvious place to meditate. Don't use a very subtle one. Just use the movement of breath moving in and out there. And if your mind is more settled and calm and attentive, then take something more subtle, like the subtle movement of breath right under the nose, in between the space of the upper lip and the nostrils as you breathe in. There's a very subtle sensing of the movement of breath there. We can notice the movement, we can notice the temperature of breath. Let's pick one of those two places for the object of our meditation on breath now to anchor, to hold our awareness and our attention on the object. Our eyes are 3/4 to 2/3 closed with a quarter to a third open, just a little bit open so that we invite the awareness of the room that we're sitting in, but more importantly, we're inviting the waking consciousness to stay present. Sometimes, if we close the eyes all the way, we have these amazing light trips and images and all kinds of different sensations that arise, and that's actually quite distracting. What we want is to stay really on the breath moving in and out. And we want to train our awareness to be able to come to this kind of state of consciousness whenever we're moving through the day so that we can access it all the time. And sometimes the difficulty with our eyes being closed is that we don't move through our life with our eyes closed. So training ourselves to be able to access this state of mind, this is why we use a little bit of the eyes staying open so that it becomes a much more natural state of mind. That's what we're living from. Present moment awareness, mindfulness of what the body's doing, of what the speech is saying, and where the mind is putting its attention to. So we're using this very beautiful combination of mindfulness plus awareness. Mindfulness means picking this object of meditation, which is the breath, moving in and out. And awareness means staying with that, being conscientious not to let our mind drift off to following thoughts, following sounds, following sensations, not getting distracted. We have awareness on maintaining the object of mindfulness. So let's continue to deepen the shamatha, calm, abiding, single-pointed meditation now for the next 10 minutes. Just aware of breathing in, keeping the object in our awareness of breathing in on one of those two places. We're not following the breath now into the body. We're just on one of two places, beneath the nostrils or beneath the belly button. And then breathing out, aware of breathing out. Again, not the whole process, just one of those two places, very localized. And then after the out breath, after exhaling, there's a natural pause that we're just resting. The awareness is just relaxed and alert and just resting, watching now for the body to begin to take the breath and the mind to just settle in awareness on watching. Again, if you're having lots of thoughts, don't try to stop thinking. Just notice them. Like clouds in the sky, let them move through. Don't follow them. Just watch them. They'll absorb back from wherever they came from. They'll melt back into the mind. If you begin to feel a little sleepy and too much torpor, too much lethargy, then put a little more attention on the in-breath and open up the eyes just a little bit more so that you're relaxed but alert. You don't want to drift off in distraction, and we don't want to slip into a heavy kind of dark black state of mind, which is very peaceful and sometimes very blissful, but that there's a different consciousness called the alaya consciousness. We don't want to stay in that. Relaxed and alert is very clear, very lucid, very radiant and spacious, and very peaceful. But there's definitely awareness there. Check your posture, make sure your crown is still up to the sky, that you haven't started to slouch a bit. Do a little adjusting. So now that we've established a very good shamatha, calm abiding, this is also called single pointed concentration. Let's take our concentration away from the breath now to just abide with awareness. And start to do a little bit of vipassana, or what we call in Vajrayana Buddhism, insight, critical, analytical meditation. Critical in the sense that we're really looking deeply, not criticizing, but taking a very sharp look at who is the one that is aware. When we start to dissolve the very solid sense of I as an ego, we can turn that awareness now into an investigation of analysis. We use analytical meditation to try to identify and dissolve further this clinging sense of I as a solid, static entity with awareness that can accept open, dynamic process, letting go, and curiosity. And so, slowly, with your own investigation now, with some analytical meditation, turn that awareness into looking for this sense of an I that's solid, unchanging. Who is this one that's watching? Where is this awareness located? What is the essence of this awareness? And in this part of the meditation, actually, it is said not finding is actually finding. This is the whole point of the Buddha's path of awakening, is to help us find what cannot be found. And we do this through deep insight meditation, through analytical meditation. We can use reason to know that it's not the body that's watching. We can use reason to say it's not the I consciousness that's aware and watching. We can use reason to say it's not possible right now to pinpoint exactly where this mind is that's aware and watching. We can experience the awareness as much more expansive than limited to a physicality, much more connected with space and presence. And we can trust in this awareness of not finding as of finding something far greater and far deeper and more expansive than how we usually tend to identify with who we think we are from our habits of moving quickly through life, perhaps with the same name, perhaps thinking about our body in the same way, perhaps repeating many habitual activities daily in familiar surroundings, perhaps holding on to the same framework of thoughts, of paradigms, of projections of the way we see the world to be. But in fact, now through this process, Buddha is inviting us to drop all of that into a much more expansive view, what he would call the right view, which is emptiness or shunyata, tompani, much more profound. Than anything can even be conceptualized about. It needs to just be experienced with awareness. There's no real capacity to say this is it. In this way, even communication cannot truly express and define what this awareness is. It just has to be looked at and sat with. And even if deep feelings of bliss arise, don't cling to those. The same way as if your foot falls asleep and there are pins and needles, don't suffer through that. You can note the different experiences and then allow them to just release into awareness, leaving the mind free and open, noticing without grasping onto any thought, experience, state of mind. Just like space, holding openness for everything to arise, be sustained, and then disappear and dissolve. The space is allowing everything without interfering with the process. And this open and aware mind is likewise doing the same. So this awareness is just open. It's not partial to any thoughts. It's not judging anything or anybody. Sometimes called the mirror-like awareness. So things are moving across the face of a mirror, but they don't stick on the mirror. They're not the same as the mirror. Likewise, now our frame of mind is just noticing with open awareness, presence, without any agenda. Beyond concepts. And now we can bring in a different form of analytical meditation, bringing to mind a difficult klesha, one of the afflicted emotions that you yourself are struggling with, or maybe not struggling, but aware of. Could be marikpa, not knowing, or ignorance. It could be some kind of desire, a habit or addiction, even a small craving addiction, like for a certain kind of food that you can't go without, or your coffee you have to have in the morning. Can be something more addicting to some other habit that you'd like to change. It could be an emotion like anger or hatred, strong judgment. It could also be envy or jealousy. It could be doubt. It could be fear in the face of uncertainty. Whatever it is right now in your life that creates some difficulties for you through an emotional habit, through an afflictive emotion. Affliction means it doesn't bring benefit, something that you would like to change. And bring that to mind. And hold it in the spacious awareness now of what is this habit? What is the nature of this habit? Where does this habit come from? How does it stay? Where does it go? So in Buddhism, we don't really search for where did it come from back to our childhood or some past life. We just can notice that this habit is still something that arises in our awareness, something that we're conscious of. And it's more important to notice that it's not beneficial. It's something we would like to change. We would feel better if it would not arise. And the good news is that they can be changed. Habits are changeable, that these afflictive emotions are not part of the mind. Mind is just the clear, radiant, luminous knowing quality. The habits are sometimes confused with the mind. But the habits are just states of mind that change very quickly. And the more we enter the states of mind, the more we repeat our habits, this is the more we become familiar with them, and that they seem like they're part of who we are, although they're not. But when we examine their nature, we can find they don't have any true solid nature. They don't exist anywhere as who we are, with this luminous knowing clarity. We really can't find where is anger, where is desire, where is pride, where is jealousy, where is doubt. And again, the not finding is finding. We're finding out that they're just experiences. They're very temporary, very impermanent, and very changeable. And now, with this power of this awareness, we can begin to help them dissolve back into their true essence, which is just energy, just awareness, an expression, a movement, and then a disappearance again. So even if we have a habit of anger or we have a habit of doubt, we're not always angry. We're not always uncertain, doubtful. That proves that they're not a permanent state of mind. They're just a temporary habit that arises. And because these states, these particular qualities don't arise in every single mind, it shows that these are our particular habits of mind that we ourselves have cultivated through our own experiences, through our own reactions, through our own habits. And the Buddha said, and it's good to have awareness of that because this is how we change the habits that don't work. They're not bad habits in the sense that they're inherently bad, but if they don't bring us happiness, they don't bring us stability, peace of mind. If we feel captive or victimized by our own habits, then those are states of mind, those are experiences that we obviously would want to change naturally. We want habits, we want states of mind that only bring us loving kindness and happiness, compassion, wisdom, peace of mind, serenity, and joy. We can cultivate all the positive, beneficial habits of mind all the way up to enlightenment by removing all of these seeds and imprints of habits that are not bringing us in that direction. And the first step is awareness. Just allowing, accepting, hello, doubt, hello, anger. I'm not going to deny you. I'm seeing that you're just an experience, an expression, but not who I am. You're not anything solid at all. And so we invite them to come to be seen clearly through a deep meditation where our mind is open, stable, compassionate, present, and mature enough to allow these habits to be seen without feeling identified with them, without feeling being taken prisoner by them. We invite them genuinely with love and acceptance, with compassion, and with deep understanding to see that they're very temporary, impermanent. They don't have any true existence anywhere. And that way they're like illusions. And we can begin to smile at them, can begin to take ourselves less seriously, to be kinder to ourselves, not to beat ourselves up, not to deny these habits, not to pretend that they're not there. And then we can begin to live as a more whole person, a more courageous person, a more honest and gentle person with oneself. And then this translates with all beings because we gain deep understanding and wisdom through our own experience. As Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh would say, we just come home to ourselves. And when we enter into our own home, we say to ourselves, darling, I'm home and I'm here for you. It's a little bit of a different kind of approach than within Vajrayana Buddhism, but it's a very humane approach. It's a very down-to-earth approach that allows us to be friends, to be kind and loving to ourselves first. We have to start there before we can be this way with everybody. So we cultivate these very tender states of mind, these very tender awarenesses, using that kind of approach, especially with our difficult habits that we haven't wanted to look at. We acknowledge we haven't really invited them to be seen equally and fully because we're afraid of making them part of who we are. But now we're very mature and say, we know you're not part of who I am, but we know sometimes you're an expression and an experience that's been denied. And now we welcome ourselves to accept this as a human experience through the kindness, through non-judgment, through acknowledgement. And often as we step to embrace these parts, they dissolve, they disappear through that loving kindness, through that acknowledgement, through that presence. And what remains is that cultivated mindset that says, darling, I'm home, I'm here for you. We say this first to oneself with acknowledgement, with appreciation of our innate Buddha nature, our innate goodness, our innate awareness. And the language that we use in our own expression to ourselves matters. Our inner voice matters deeply. As Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo says, we might need to make best friends with our minds because that's the only friend that we're guaranteed to always have with us, no matter where we go, in this life and in our next lives. And in our Vajrayana Buddhist meditation, we call this flying with the two wings of the bird. Wisdom that recognizes the empty nature and the compassion that fully embraces and infuses that empty nature with unconditional loving kindness and presence. So now let's close this meditation with ourselves with the promise to continue to be aware of whatever emotion we were working with that we brought in with this beautiful presence of wisdom, of the empty nature of the emotion. It's not something we can find solidly anywhere. And it's obviously something that's impermanent. And with the commitment to ourselves to meet that habit with compassion, with unconditional loving kindness, allowing it to be seen and acknowledged and released back into the true, pure awareness of emptiness that doesn't judge it critically, that doesn't deny it, that allows it to dissolve into the clear light of awareness. So let's come out of our meditation now. And maybe just have a moment if anyone has a comment or question about anything that arose during the meditation. This would be a time to ask. And if not, then we can dedicate our merits. So the other thing we can do with that last part of that meditation, with the habit of the emotion, is during this week, notice if it arises in someone else that you're around, in the presence of, and that, just holding that for them in awareness, not needing to reply or respond to them or try to encourage them to do anything about it, but just holding your own awareness of the difficulty of that habit that you're working with that emotional transformation, and just putting out a sincere wish, may they also be free, may they also be happy. One of the wonderful teachers in Mahayana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, says everything exists on the tip of a wish, meaning if your intention and motivation is pure, don't underestimate the power of transformation that comes from that. So thank you, everybody. We'll dedicate. If you have your Tashi Getzeling prayer booklet, we didn't really open with refuge tonight, but our meditation was our refuge. Touching deeply our Buddha nature was our refuge. So we're on page 25, or Janet's got there. Yep. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezi remain in life till samsara's end. In particular, I pray for the one who knows all the scriptures with the power of his intelligence to have a long life through the solid strength of his mind and his mastery of life, in order to benefit the teachings and all beings with his good, wholehearted resolve. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru, Buddha's state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Me se wei ter chen chen resi, di me ken pe wang po jam pel yang. Gong chen ke pe su gen son ka ba, lob zang drak pe shabla so wa de. So just a little announcement for everybody. This Thursday night in Brunswick, at 7:00 at the Regal Cinemas, there's a world premiere, one night only, of a 2.5-hour documentary. It's a world premiere with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I don't have the name of it right now, but it's his words and his own story, first time that he's ever told it, of what happened in Lhasa when the Chinese came and what happened when he escaped that very night. As well as with the Indian guard who went from India into Tibet to greet His Holiness's party and guide them safely back to India into refuge. So that is this Thursday night, March 31st in Brunswick at the Regal Cinemas at 7 p.m. And if you, I think, ask the Guru, Google about it, you'll get more information for the exact name of it. I think the tickets maybe $12. It is a little bit long. I think it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, so that might be late for people. And eventually maybe it will come out wider and farther, but this is the world premiere. So if you'd like to come, then maybe we'll see you there. And the other reminders, we sent out an email. Tashi Getzeling Buddhist Center is looking for a new place to host our humble shrine room center, and occasionally an itinerant Buddhist nun. So if anybody has any suggestions, somewhere here in Maine is the most preferable. Please be in touch. And we're not worried about it. We're sure that All the causes and conditions are still in Maine for Khenzo Rinpoche's disciples to have access to the teachings, as well as new friends who have been joining Tashi Getzeling. We're sure that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have a really great place in mind, but asking everybody who's connecting with us to spread the word or think about it and let us know if you have any thoughts. And then next on Sunday, we'll have our first Sunday of the month teaching with Geshe-ma Tenzin Kunsel, who's been teaching on the 8 verses of mind training. And she's on verse 3 for this Sunday. And that's from 11 until 12, 11 in the morning until noon, if you want to join us. Okay, everybody, have a lovely week. Nice sitting with you all.